with the coach, and what a 24-hour segment it has been here in the United States. I think, like many of you, I've been trying to make sense of this. It's all still pretty fresh, it's still happening. And I thought, today was going to be a talk on what to focus on to continue on our, uh, time management productivity theme this week. And I felt like you can't address that and not say how sometimes current events can really impact your day. And I say this, as a coach, I'm always saying, you got to cut out distractions. You can only do what's in your control every day. And to say that in the context of today, to me, feels like it's completely, you know, not giving the proper weight to the consequences that are happening. Like, share, subscribe. I got to get that figured out. It's on timers, but live show. But that the consequences for the society, the U.S., our democracy, our society, our communities, is in our future. It's really impacted, and what is happening right now is going to be a show of things to come, and how we come together, how we resolve this as a nation is going to determine a lot of things economically, politically, how we view ourselves as Americans, I think. And if you're not from America, I'm, of course, I am. So this is why I'm talking about this right now. But, you know, I am just remembering seeing this. I had this feeling on 9/11. I kind of remember the Oklahoma City bombing way back in the 90s. But I think after 9/11, the late, great Mr. Rogers had a saying that you should always look for the helpers, right? And if we're talking about being productive, if we're talking about how do we manage our emotions so we can put our good out into the world, because if you're watching this, I believe you have something in you, a call to serve, a call to improve yourself, and a call to improve the community around you, that we need to know what to focus on, right? And if we're looking for the helpers, right now you can be a helper, a force of good, by having a cool head, by putting out what's in you out in the world that's good, and to just be kind, right? I think with all the emotions going on right now, people are angry, and we have to acknowledge that. And even if people are angry, showing acts of kindness to others is a way, one, to not get caught on that emotion, and two, to help other people not get caught on that emotion. I think that's really important right now. And I'll say, like, this is just how I'm processing it. I have no idea what to do. I think, like so many of us, but that's been my, you know, thought. That's my thought process right now. So, what do you have to accomplish today, regardless of the news? If you're safe, if you have to be, if you're at the Capitol and you need to find safety, still, because I don't know what the situation is. I haven't really been paying too much attention, but you still hear things. It's amazing how much you can actually hear without paying attention to the news sometimes. But, if you're safe, if your family's safe, if you're able to put out good work into the world today, now's the day to do that. So that's going to be the overall theme, is to put your good work out, because regardless of what's happening, there are people that are doctors treating diseases. There are people making sure that everyone is fed. There are people making sure that things move around so we have the things that we need to survive. That's still happening, even with this backdrop of utter chaos and, the domestic terrorism and the looting and all the terrible violence happening right now. We still have people showing up, doing what they got to do to make society work, to make things great. I also, that's my first point, is to just put out whatever you do that's good out in the world today. Talk to friends, connect with people, console each other, but think about too how we can move from here and improve things, right? What are the solutions? Because I have none of those. And if you have an idea, I'd love to have a discussion down if you can keep it positive, focused on the solution, and without judging other people, right? What do we need to do in our society to make sure that this doesn't happen again, to shore up? I think the other thing to focus on is, for the most part, the institutions of democracy here in the US have held up. They've been tested, they've been put under stress, and with that stress, we're able to see where there's cracks. And where those cracks are, we have now the obligation as citizens, as leaders, as people, even out in the world, right? Wherever you're at, if you're watching this not from the United States, the stress that's put on our political systems, and this is, I guess, a very American belief, but it's up to us to identify it. It's up to us to put pressure, to fix it, to talk about solutions, and to quit just judging other people, right? There are people that supported the president that thought, hey, this is the best option, I think. Maybe don't believe all the conspiracies. And they're not the enemy. The enemy are the people that are out there rioting, that are out there violence, that are out there threatening people with weapons. You have Kentucky. You have people walking down the street with AK-47s as an act of intimidation. You have people in state capitals also trying to storm the state capitals, and like those people, we need to deal with. But for the most of the others, there's a huge debate here. But I think if we can say, hey, like, if you thought that was the best choice and now and now it's different, we should try to work with those folks to repair things. The people on the edges, you can on both sides, the extremes on both sides, maybe not. But, and that's a whole other debate, and I know that that's going to make a lot of people angry, and there's going to be a lot of discussion that we need to have about that. But right now, back to the point, the institutions held, we can see how we need to improve them to make our union more perfect. And I'm very optimistic on that, and I always have been. But there's going to be, I also think there needs to be a reckoning. And now I'm starting to ramble. So I'm still processing this like many of you. I thought that we need to do that. Productivity wise, if you can turn off the news, turn off the email, turn off the distractions for 1 hour and work 1 hour on doing something that will advance your life, you'll feel better about today, regardless of how you feel about the current events. And so as your coach, I can at least say that. And that doesn't mean you can't feel today. It doesn't mean you can't be upset about today and what happened yesterday. It doesn't mean you have to ignore what's going out in the world or disengage from it. But as a part of your self-care, of remaining sane, do the one thing for 1 hour that matters today. And then, the rest of the day, you can either follow that momentum, or do what you got to do to take care of yourself, to engage and communicate, because that's also important. But we want to make sure you at least move the football a little bit today. So that's, I guess, my thought process right now. And I'm very open to having that challenged. I don't have all the answers. But I think this is something that needed to be said. And it's something that I'll be thinking about and probably talking a little bit more about for the next little bit. In also doing the high performance personal development stuff. But, these kind of events are what test your character, or what test how you show up, how you're going to get let off course, or how well you can stay on course. And also retain your humanity, right? I think the great power of personal development is it's helping you become more human and access more of the human spirit, the human experience. Having been in corporate America for quite a bit, you kind of like cut that stuff off and get really buttoned up. Like, I'm more dressed up today than I normally am. I'm sure you guys have noticed. But Um, we really need to connect with others and understand people more. And now I'm just rambling. Okay, that's the live show for today, folks. Tomorrow will be Ask a Coach a Question. And I'll compile questions from the week. I'll probably get to Christopher White's question specifically after laying all this context and rambling today. But go out there, be safe, put your good work out into the world, folks. Whatever that, if it's taking care of someone, taking care of your family, if it's just being kind at work or holding space for people, um, there's a million different ways that you could put good out in the world and not contribute to the vitriol that's going on. Just go do that today for a little bit. And I think if enough of us can do that, we can at least shift the energy a bit to where we can solve this problem and not have it get worse. Um, but I don't know what's going to happen. So let's just do what we can, okay? I'll see you guys tomorrow. Take care.